Hello.
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 Yes, sir.
Hi. Okay, guys. Remember that this call is getting recorded, and yeah. Um. So I've added the link. Okay, on the first this thing. You can check if. Oh, by the way, is it also live on? Yeah. Um.
सर स्क्रीन शेयर करने के लिए मुझे एक्सेप्ट कर दीजिए वो।
But why do you want to screen share?
वो स्क्रीन नहीं चलानी है अभी।
कौन सा वो वाला?
हाँ हाँ।
हम्म, ठीक है, चलो. I'll give you access.
ओके।
Guest host. Oh, double post नहीं
Like
कर सकते.
we are also getting notification on YouTube, like you are live. Is that okay or?
If I'm live and you're getting that is fine, right? Uh, but you have not joined the YouTube this thing, right? Or have you joined there?
I've also opened the link.
See, I mean, if you've opened and if you're there, that is fine, right? But be here. That can still be there. I
Okay.
mean, you can just mute that particular thing so that you don't hear from there.
Mhm.
And yeah.
सर साउंड आ रहा है इसमें?
Sound आ रहा है. लेकिन keep a watch in the community if somebody has any problem, okay?
या श्योर।
Keep checking that. Somebody check with people who are joining, because apart from V4, nobody has joined here.
Like we can share a screenshot of showing that they can join by clicking this link in the group. Or
Yeah, I mean,
oh, we have done that. Punit have done that, I think.
can you please take care of that?
Link not activated. Or
Who is the that with you?
this thing in the group like this.
अभी यार
I can join from that. Like, I will join from that.
just check from that.
सर कुछ बोल रहे हैं लिंक इज नॉट एक्टिव
Yeah, wait.
इनको
Let's check. Just give me a minute. Please just checking that. Anish,
Yes, yes.
are you able to join from there?
Yeah, I think he is saying that he's not able to join the Zoom meeting, I guess. Like I
हाँ, Zoom
I
में
am able-
ज्वाइन कर सकते हैं ना. अरे एक काम करते हैं, सबको Zoom दे देते हैं.
like give it the access and like we can tell them if you are not a paid user. Like,
No. Everybody will come here, irrespective of whether they are paid or not.
okay.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Switch on your cameras. We'll just keep playing some music until few more join in. We'll start very soon. But yeah, until then, please enjoy the music.
Quick moment, Minuku. I'm on this one call, okay? I can't hear you guys.
Sorry, let me listen. Question mark, okay. Hello. Ó fẹ́ lọ get nǹkan. Ó fẹ́ lọ get nǹkan. Máa bọ̀.
Punit, stop the music for a minute. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Thank you for joining in on time. We're
Not too
just
bad,
waiting
not
for a minute or two and then we'll get started. Please switch on your cameras until then. Let's see each other, interact with each other, and build a bonding. Hi, Syed. Thank you. Thank you for joining in and switching on your camera.
For you. Hope your journey was smooth from Hyderabad.
Oh, yeah, it was good. How about you?
All good. Arrived yesterday. Back to again in Dubai.
Okay, nice to see you again.
Yeah, same here.
Okay. Anshuman, no problem. No problem, Aditya. Okay. We have 34 people joining.
Some weak guys are confident. But how much did they feel?
And okay. Let's get started.
रख के आवे
तुम्हें खाना है?
छोड़ो
टेबल पे रखा है।
Okay.
अच्छा मुझे खाना
Let me just
आ गया 2 पीस 2-3 पीस
take back.
खट्टा लग रहा है वैसे भी मजा तो आ रहा था खट्टा लग रहा है
Hello,
मजा तो
everyone.
आ
Please mute yourself. Can I do that for everyone?
म्यूट है
क्या?
म्यूट है
मुझे तो कुछ नहीं बोलना है
Hello. Please be on mute. Anybody? Okay. Good evening, everyone, once again, and thank you for joining in for the 12 weeks of bubble cohort called Begin. And we are on the first session today. We had a couple of sessions last week just to have some understanding of what is going to be happening during the cohort and all of that. But today is the first session, officially starting with bubble introduction and elements. Before we get into that, I would like to explain a few things as to how this cohort goes and what is the structure and how can we ensure that everybody has a smooth ride here, right? Without disturbing each other and so on and so forth. So every session that is going to happen will be for 120 minutes, that is 2 hours, right? And the first 90 minutes is where I will share my knowledge, right? If you have any questions, please put it in the chat box. If that question is relevant at that particular moment, then I will answer it immediately. If I feel that it's not relevant for that particular moment, then we will take it at the end. The last 30 minutes is meant for Q&A, right? I'll ensure that each one of your questions are answered, and then we will close the session, right? So I hope all of you are okay with that. And yes, as many people as possible, please switch on your cameras so that we can see each other, interact, and build a bonding. Yeah. No, Manoj, you have not missed anything, right? We are just getting started. And yeah. So any questions you have, please put it in the chat box. And I want all of you to be interactive. What I mean by that is, whenever I ask you if you have understood or not, you are following or not, and so on and so forth, please put it in the chat box. Yes, no, +1, -1, whatever it is. And that's how I'll know that we are going in a right flow. You are able to catch up and so on and so forth, right? So are you all ready to get started? Come on, come on, come on. Okay, I hope all of you have created your bubble account. We did this on Friday. Those of you who have not done it, please go to bubble.io, right? And register. I'll just share the link again. You can use your Google account to create a account on Bubble, or you can use your email ID and password, right? Please create and quickly type in done in the chat box. If you have already created an account on Friday or anytime before, please type in done. Okay. A few more dones, and then let's get started. I'll share my screen. And do not, I mean, those of you who are creating an application account now, do not take the paid plan, skip everything that comes on the pop-up, right? You don't have to go through any of those. Okay, we've got a lot of dones now. Okay, let's get started. So I'll share my screen and okay, can you see my screen? Let me open the chat as well. Okay. So firstly, let's have a quick walkthrough of Bubble interface, right? And then we will start with the most basic things, that is visual elements. Okay. So when you open a project on Bubble, okay, then you can see the left menu over here and you can see a top menu over here, right? On the left menu, the first thing is design, which is where we are going to do our front-end design, right? Then we have workflows, which is where we will add the workflows, right? And then we have, I'll come to this a bit later. Okay, then we have data, which is where the data is getting stored. Okay, so if you see this, and this, right? This is the front end, this is where the data is stored, and in between we have workflows, which is connecting the front end to the database, right? So anything that the user inputs on the front end will be sent to data using workflows, right? And it's rightly placed in the center of both of this. This is backend workflow. It is nothing but similar to backend workflow is similar to workflows, but just that backend workflows are run on the server side, right? Bubble server side, and this will be running on your browser. Okay. Then we have styles, which is where you will add styling to elements. We will cover this when we reach there. Then we have plugins, then we have settings, and then logs. Okay. So this is our left menu. Okay. We will be working with the design, workflows, and the data for the first few sessions. And then we will look into the other options that we have here, right? This is where we will be navigating from one page to another page or reusable element. Okay. Do not worry if you're not catching up anything as of now, right? And this is where we will be able to see what are the elements that we have added on the page or reusable element. Okay. And then you can see if there are any issues over here. You can do some settings here. I would say just leave it as is, right? And then there is components library here, and this is undo and this is redo, right? So this is the search box where you can search for anything within the project. Okay, we will come through all of this a bit later. You have upgrade to deploy here and then review. Okay. So can we get started with visual elements? So far, so good. Is the speed good enough? The more you interact, the more better it is, because I'll be energized to share more and more. So please keep interacting in the chat box, which will give me good idea of what's happening, right? So please interact. Okay, so let's get started with visual elements, right? And how many of you have used Paint? Paint in Windows or anywhere else? You've used? Do you remember you could just drag and drop something and you could type? Let me increase the font. Yeah, you could add elements like this. You could change the color and so on and so forth. Do you remember this? Yeah. So think of Bubble's front end just like Paint, right? So similar like in Paint, where you could drag and drop elements, text elements, like any boxes or shapes and so on and so forth. Okay. We can also do similar stuff on Bubble, right? You can see that we have got all the elements here. Okay. So this is a text element, which you can just drag and drop here, right? And you can type in any text that you want onto this particular text element. Okay. Let's say, hello, begin members. Okay. So I've just added a text element onto the page. Okay. the default page when you create any bubble account will be index page. Okay. And if you click on preview on the right top, right, then you can see what you have done so far onto your page. Okay. So you can see that this is shared. I mean, this is coming here, the text that we added. Let me share this particular link in the chat box. See if you are able to see what I'm able to see on the screen. Right. So let me just, yeah. Please check this and let me know if you are able to see Hello Begin members on the screen. Yes, great. And this is how we can create something on the page and share the link with others, right? So you can click on preview, okay? And once it opens up, take the link from there, share it with anybody, and they will also be able to see whatever you are able to see, okay? Now, the next one we have is button, okay? And this is your register button, login button, create account button, or create project, tasks, whatever buttons you can see on any of the platforms. This button is meant for that, right? So let's just make it as register. Okay. Next one is icon. Okay, I'm going to add it over here. And any icons that you can see on the platform, for example, this is icon, right? This search is an icon. Okay, this question mark that you can see here is an icon. All the things that you can see over here are icons, right? So wherever you need to show some of the icons, you can use this particular element, which is icon. Okay, and then you can search for icons from here. Okay, so there are various icon library added. Okay, previously it was just one library. But now they have added all the libraries, right? Material library, then we have Phosphor, Ionic, Feather, Bootstrap icons, Font Awesome V6, Font Awesome V4, and so on and so forth, right? If you go to material, then you have again outlined, filled, rounded, two-tone, sharp, and so on and so forth, right? So let's check for logout. You can see that logout icon is shown here. Okay, let me select this. And then let me also show you, like when you go to filled, what happens, right? So for filled, like these are the icons which are like filled with color, right? You can see that it is full of like the entire element or icon is having some color, okay? Likewise, you have rounded, two-tone, and so on and so forth. Okay, different icon sets are available. Okay, you can choose and play around with this. Okay, now I've just given icon here. You can also change the color and so on and so forth. We'll come to changing color and other parameters or properties of all the elements a bit later. This is a link. If you want to add any link, let's say, for example, google.com and so on and so forth, right? This is the text. If you want to add a link to internal page, then this is the one. You have to select which page you want them to go to. And if it is external, then you have to give the link here, right? So something like this. Okay. And you can also mention whether this needs to be opened in a new tab or the same tab and so on and so forth. So now I make it as new tab. Next one is image. Okay, so I'm adding an image here. It'll ask you to select a particular image. You can upload from your system, or you can add some dynamic image link here, or you can also use the free image, which is coming from Pixels, right? So let's select some beautiful nature image. Okay. Then comes shape. This is very rarely used. Okay, but yeah, you have a shape. Okay, which is just in like rectangular shape. Okay, you can change the color and so on and so forth. It's mainly used if you want to add some line in between or something like that, but we can achieve this with other elements. We'll check that as we move on. Okay, then we have an alert alert box. Okay. This is the alert where you can show to the user that registration is successful, right? Or you can say task has been created successfully. Okay. Your record has been updated successfully, and so on and so forth, right? So we can just say this is alert box. Okay. Please remember that alert box will not be shown on the front end when the page loads. You have to add a workflow to show this. Okay, we will cover that. Yeah. Are you able to follow so far? All good? Okay, I hope the speed is good enough so that you are able to follow up and understand what's happening, right? And then we have video element. Okay, so let me add the video element over here. Okay, now when it comes to video, you can select YouTube or Vimeo, right? You will have to give the ID of the video element. So let me quickly get some videos. Okay, so I'm getting the link of one of the videos, and I'm going to add that over here. Okay, and then we have HTML element where you can add some HTML code. We have map built on Bubble, and we can also add a few more elements from the plugins. Okay, so let's preview this. You can open the link that I had already shared. Okay, or if it's already opened in the tab, you can just refresh it, and you can see all the elements that I've added so far. Can you confirm if you are able to see it or not? Just a minute. The YouTube seems to be not working because I have to add just the video ID, not the entire link. And this should be good. Let's see. Yeah, there you go. Right. So can you check if you are able to see all the elements? Check if you are able to play the video that I've added at the end. Right. So it's like I've just built it and you are already able to see them. Right. It happens like instantaneously, like whatever I've updated, you can see that. Yeah. Great, great, great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Whoever are interacting, be interactive so that I understand that you are following and we can have the same speed going on. Okay. Great. These are called visual elements, right? These are all the visual elements that we have by default in any new Bubble project. Okay. These are called visual elements because this is meant only for you to show them something. It's not meant to take some inputs or something like that, right? You have to add the text here. Okay, you have to add the button and what it needs to do, the text for the button and so on and so forth. You are supposed to add the icon, like what is icon and so on and so forth. If we are talking about link, then you have to do it as a developer, right? When I say you, I'm talking about as a developer. Right? In this case, I had to do all of this, right? I had to select the image. I had to put what is the alert box and so on and so forth. I had to tell which video to play and so on and so forth. Okay. Now we just covered visual elements. Let's quickly, we'll come to containers a bit later, right? We'll go to input forms. Okay. So we have done the visual elements this side. We're going to add input forms on the right side. Okay, we have input as an element, right? And as the name suggests, this is meant for you to collect information from the users. Yeah, this is meant for you to collect information from the users. This is not for you to communicate something, right? The text element is meant for you to communicate something, right? Whereas the input element is meant for you to collect the information from the user. Okay, this could be name of the user, right? It could be your title of the project, title of a task. It could be your PAN card number, right? Any of those things can be asked here. You use an input element only when you know that the user input will be just a single line. Okay. For example, when you ask for a name, it cannot be a multi-line input, right? The user needs to give it in single line. When you ask for a PAN card number, it is definitely going to be a single line, right? When you ask for a project title, it is definitely going to be a single line. Okay. I mean, they are supposed to give it in single line. Okay. If you want the user to input password, right? That is also going to be a single line. Okay. But content format will not be text in that case. You can make it as password. Okay. So when you add an input element, there are a few content formats that you can set. Okay. The default one is text. Then you have email. Okay. Then we have password. Now, whenever you select any of these formats apart from text, right? Bubble ensures that Bubble will ensure that the user are putting the correct information. Okay, when I say correct information, if you make this as email, right? Let's quickly check this. Okay. If I put just a text, it will show in red. Okay, which means it is not a valid email format. Okay, so I'll have to put at something dot something. Okay, this is a valid email format. It will not check if the email itself is valid or not. It will just check if the email, the input that you have given is a valid email format or not. Okay. One more thing, guys, please do not practice now, right? Just concentrate on what I'm saying. If you keep practicing, then you will miss the flow. Okay, I'll go very, very slow so that each one of you can understand this, right? Do not worry, you will be able to follow. Yeah, do not try to practice now because otherwise you will miss this. Okay, you understood this, right? So that is what is email format. Likewise, when you make it as password, right? When you make this as password, whatever you type, right, will be shown in a password format. It will not show you what you have typed. Okay. It will show you dot, 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 dot. Okay. Which is ideally the case when it comes to password. Likewise, if you make it as integer, then the user will not be able to type some text characters. Okay. You can just accept integers and not any texts. Right. Likewise, if you make it as decimal, then you can also use a dot in between. If you add it as address, then it will take address inputs. US phone number, it will take only the format of US phone number, right? So when I refresh this, right, it will show you that the phone number needs to be in this format. Yeah. And likewise, we have percentage, currency, date, euro date, text, numbers only, right? This is a text, but it can take numbers only. Okay, so I'll make this as text for now. Okay, and let's move on to the next one. Now, I mentioned that the input element is meant only for a single line input. Okay, now if you want to have a multi-line input, for example, description, right, or bio, or if you're talking about social platforms, right, LinkedIn, Twitter, and so on and so forth, we need to have multi-line input, right? A post can be a single line, but it can also be multi-line, right? And there we have to use this multi-line input. Okay. Wherever you feel that the user can have a multi-line input, okay, you have to use this particular, what I say, element. Now, I'm not saying that it should always be multi-line. Okay, it can be a single line as well. But if you feel that the user might have more to say, okay, for example, description of a project, right? Bio, okay, anything of that sort. Okay, it can also be describe your experiences so far, right? Or if it is what I say, like explain why should we hire you, right? Now, these kind of questions can be answered in a single line or multi-line as well. Okay, any such cases we can use multi-line input. Can you please let me know what could be the use cases of multi-line? What can you think of right now when you think of multi-line? Blog, very good example. Address, feedback, Twitter posts, social media bios. What else? What else? Giving long description of product, very nice. Reviews, very good. Project description. Chat, very good. Comment section, yeah. So these are all the use cases of multi-line input boxes. Okay. Now, checkbox. Okay, the next input form element is a checkbox. Okay. These are the, I mean, you can use a checkbox wherever you can see this, I agree to terms and conditions, right? Whenever a user is registering on your portal, right, you might want them to say that I agree to terms and conditions, right? And in such a case, you will use a checkbox. Okay, so I agree to your terms and conditions. Okay, that is this particular checkbox. Then we have a drop down, right? Choose your gender, right? We have two types of choices here. One is static choice, one is dynamic choice. Okay, we will see what is static choice now. Dynamic choice comes only when we enter into database. Okay, so here it could be male, female, do not refer to select. Okay, so we have three options here in terms of drop down. Like drop down, we'll come to search box a bit later. We also have a radio button. Okay, again, similar choices, right? We can select this, go here and make this as these options. Okay, every option that you want to add in a drop down or radio button needs to be one below the other. Okay, again, here we have static choice or dynamic choice. Okay, and we can also expand this. Okay, now here you have an option of telling how many columns do you want to be shown in the radio button. Okay, by default it will be 1, but if you make it as 2, then 2 will come in the first row, third one will come in the third row. If you make this as 3, then it will come all the 3 in the same row. Okay, and so forth, so on and so forth. I'll make it as 1 for now. Okay, then we have slider input. Okay, you can add what is the min value, what is the max value, what is the step, right? And then you have slider type simple or range. Okay, you can also set what is the initial value. Let's say, for example, you want the initial value to be 5, right? You can set it. And if we go to the front end now, the preview mode, basically, okay, you can see that I can type in one row of data here or one line of input here. Okay, you cannot go to the next line. If you go here, you can type in multi-line. Okay, this is checkbox, check and uncheck. You have the drop down options here, right? Male, female, do not prefer to select. Yeah. You also have the radio button here. Now, as you can see, okay, both of this is meant for single select options, right? If you want the users to be able to select, to be able to select one particular item, then you use drop down or radio buttons. Now you might ask me like, when should we use a radio button and when drop down? Yeah, can anybody explain? Like, can anybody put in chat box as to when do you use a drop down and when radio buttons? Anybody? Okay, some of you are right. So basically, you use a drop down whenever you have a lot of options, right? Radio buttons are meant only for select options. Like for example, male, female do not prefer to select, right? This is okay with a radio button. But if you have countries, right? Let's say you have country and you are trying to put that in a radio button, right? 196 countries or so. If you put in a radio button, then that itself will take the entire page. Yeah, you do not want that to happen. Rather, you would put it over here so that they can search for the this thing and they can select the country. Yeah, radio button is specifically meant for minimal options. Okay, where you know that it is just 3 or 4 or so options. The reason why you might want to use radio buttons instead of drop down is, think about this. Now, if I want to select an option in the drop down, I have to first click here and then click this one. There are 2 clicks happening, right? Whereas with the radio button, it's just 1 click. Okay, so you'll have to see what is the experience that you want to give to the users. And based on that, you decide whether you want to go with the drop down or radio button. Okay, it should be nice to see, right? At the same time, it should also be easy for the users to use. Okay, less number of clicks is always preferable, but at the same time, it should not be like, okay, I want to make it less number of clicks, so I'll show all the list of countries in radio button, let them click, right? And that itself will take the entire page, and that is not good user experience. Okay, now you can see that this is slider, right? I can slide it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, that's a slider, simple slider basically. If you make it as range, then you will have 2 sliders added onto that particular element. Okay, one will be the start number and one is the end number. So you can say that range is, let me see, ideally it should show the number, border color, background color, handle color, range area color. Okay, let's add a text to show what are the values that we have selected. Okay, I'm going to add a text here. And then we can say slider input is value. Okay, if you have made it as range, then you will have min and max, right? So you can make it a min, and then you can select slider input is value max. Okay, so it says 0 to 10. Now when I select 3 to 7. Okay, that was slider input. Then we have date time picker. Okay, as you can understand, it's meant for users to select date and time. Okay, it can either be just date or date and time. Okay, and then you have a few options to format and stuff like that. We will come to that very, very soon. Then we have picture uploader. Okay, again, this is meant for users to upload the picture, right? And we also have a file uploader here. This is meant for the users to upload the file. Now you can see that whatever we did on the left side was meant for us to inform to the users when they come to the page, right? So we tell that hello begin users. We want to tell them hello, right? And that's why we have added that text. This is a button that we want them to click for certain actions, right? And that's why this is a visual element. Whereas everything that we can see here on the right side is meant to collect the information from the user. Yeah. Is it making sense? Everyone following so far? Is the speed right? Are we going too fast, too slow? It's going at the perfect phase. What do you think? Good, good, good. Okay, great. Thank you, thank you. Now, we have added all the elements on the page, right? We have added visual elements. We have added input form elements as well. Okay. Now you might say that, Ritesh, this is not looking good. Okay, maybe this one or maybe this one, right? Any of this, maybe it's not looking good. Yeah. How do I ensure that we can make it look nicer? Okay. We have to change the properties. Yeah. So before we do that, I would just like to open up, let's say, docs.new, Google Doc basically. So when we add any text onto a doc, okay, or any writing platform, right? It could be Google Doc, Google Sheets, your Excel files, or Word, this thing, Grammarly, anything that allows you to write. Okay, you can do formatting. Like you can say if it's a normal text or title, header, and so on and so forth. You can change the font family. You can change the font size, right? You can make it bold, italic, underlined. You can change the font color, right? You can highlight the text. You can make it as a link and so on and so forth. You can also make it as left aligned, center aligned, right aligned. Yeah, you can make it as, you can add the spacing over here. Yeah, you can add bulleted list, number list, and so on and so forth. Right? Similarly, on Bubble, you can do this. Okay. Now we have added a text element over here. Okay. And let's go to style over here. Yeah. These are defined styles. Okay. You can see that we have body 12. When you change, it becomes hello begin, like the font size has reduced. Okay. You can see that the font has come to 12 now. If you make body 14, the font size is 14, body 16, it will become 16, and so on and so forth. And these are defined styles. We will go to styles in the future session. But for now, let's understand how are the properties behaving as and when we change, right? So font family can be changed from here. Okay, by default, there is something called app font, okay, which happens to be in style variable. Yeah, you can set the font from here. Okay, that is the entire application's default font is changed from here. Okay, by default, all the elements will have the same font family, but if you want it, you can change it. Okay, let's say we'll select Open Sans. Okay, you can also change the weight of the font. Okay, whether it is thin, which is 100, 200, like 300, regular will be 400. Okay, but if you want bold or something like that, you can make it as 700 bold here, right? Or you could also make it bold from here. Okay, you can change the font size from here, right? 22, let's say. And this is left align. You can make it a center aligned. This is right aligned, bold, italic, underlined. Okay, you can change the color from here. Yeah, you can change the word spacing from here, line spacing from here, letter spacing from here. Okay, this is all much similar to what you would have seen in any of the text-based applications, right? Like Google Docs or Excel, Word, and so on and so forth. Okay. We also have something called center text vertically. What does that mean? Okay. So if I remove this, the text will be on the top. Okay. It will not be center aligned, but it will be on the top. If you check this box, then it will come to the center of the element. Okay. Now you have this particular element. It will come to the center of the element, right? Now you might ask me, like, how do I change the background of the element, right? So we have background style here. Okay. So by default, it is none. You can say flat color, and then you can choose what is the color that you want for background, right? Something like this. And you can also define the border to this. So let me make this as center aligned. Okay. And let's remove the underline, this thing, and boldness. Okay. I'll add a border to this. Okay. I mentioned that I want a solid border. There are a lot of border styles like solid, dotted, dashed, double, groove, ridged, inset, outset, and so on and so forth. I would encourage all of you to try these properties out to understand how does it change, right? You can make it as 1, 2, 5, 20, whatever you want, right? So when you make it as 20, it will be a thick border. Yeah, I'll make it as 1. Then you can also change the color of the border, right? It works hex. It works in hex. So you can give this. You can see that border has been added. If you open the link that I shared or refresh the page, if it is already open, then you can see that the color has been changed, the border has been added, and so on and so forth. Are you able to see that, everyone? Yes, yes, yes. No, no, no. Okay, great. Thank you for the confirmation. Now, within the border, right, there are a few more things. One, you can change the roundness. Okay, this is the corner radius, right? If you make it as 5, let's quickly check this. If you make it as 5, the corner will not be sharp. Okay, it becomes slightly curved. Yeah. If you change this roundness to, let's say, 15, okay, the curveness changes. Yeah. If you, as and when you keep increasing, the radius keeps increasing here as well. Okay. Based on your design style, whatever you need, you can keep changing this. Okay. And you can also add some shadows. Okay. Outset, inset. You can change these parameters. You can change the box shadow color and so on and so forth. Yeah. I'll remove this for now. Not just that. You can also add independent borders. Let's assume that you want the border only at the bottom, not on the left, right, or top. Yeah. Then you can just go to the border style bottom and say, okay, this is solid. And you might change the color. Okay. And roundness, you can, like, we have 4 corners, so it has given us 4 corners roundness. You can have different corner radius for different edges, right? Based on your design requirement. Now you see that the border has been added only to the bottom side here. Okay, we don't have a border on the left, right, and top. Right, so you can have individual borders as well. Okay, you can also have a tooltip. Okay, this will be shown. Sorry. Right? So when you hover on top of a particular element, in this case, this text element, you can see some information being shown, right? This will be shown when user hovers. So if you want, for example, let's say this is like, join the meeting. Okay. Now you might not know which meeting are we talking about. Okay. So when they hover, you can show a text saying, this is your begin sessions meeting, right? Whatever text, additional information that you want to give could be added in tooltip. Okay. You can also rotate this. Yeah. I would say have some fun today, like explore all of this, properties of the element and see how it changes, what changes. Okay. Now with regards to background style, not just flat color, you can also have gradient color, right? And within gradient, you can say linear, radial. Okay. If it is gradient, then should it be from top, left, bottom, right, custom? Okay. I would say please explore these things and see how you can change all of these properties. Okay. Is this clear, everyone? Are you following? Okay, great. Now these properties are available on all the elements, right? Whatever is applicable for that particular element, it is available. So if you go to button, okay, you have the same properties. Like you can change the font, you can change the weight of the font, you can change the font size, right? Left aligned, center aligned, right aligned, okay, bold, italic, underline, font color, word spacing, line spacing, letter spacing, right? Everything that we saw for text is also available for button, right? Tooltip, rotation, okay, all of it is available, right? If you go to icon, you might not have a lot of them because it's just an icon, right? So whatever is applicable for the icon, like for example, background style is available, border is available, okay, shadow is available, okay. Whatever is applicable for that particular element, it is available for you to change, okay. Now, one thing that we missed is in button, okay, we saw just the label here. We have icon as well. So if you want a button with just the icon, okay, you could have that as well. Okay, let's say something like this, right? You can have a button like this, like click. Okay, you can have both icon and a label. Okay, you can select what is the icon that you want, what is the label that you want to show, right? Properties and all remains the same. Okay, now when you add the icon and the label, then you can say what should be the size of the icon. Okay, if you make it a 16, it will become smaller icon. You can change the color of the icon. Okay, there are a few more properties which is meant for icons over here. Yeah. Likewise for image, you have border style, roundness, okay, shadow, and so on and so forth. Now, wherever you want to use circular image, okay, for example, profile pic on social media will generally be circular, right? If you want to do that, then ideally, okay, the width and height should be same. Okay, so I'll make this as 100 is to 100. Okay, for circular image, you need to make width and height as same, and you have to make the roundness to be 100. Okay, it becomes a circle. Yeah, following this? Likewise, you have the properties in all of these elements. Similarly, you have properties in input elements as well, right? So you can see we have the font family, we have the font weight, font size, right? Alignments, font color, word spacing, letter spacing, okay? Your placeholder color, the type here, that's a placeholder, right? You want to tell the user what they have to type, okay? And you can also have a placeholder color here. Background style can be changed, your border thing can be changed, shadow can be changed, okay? All of this is available for all the elements that we have added, depending on what is the element type. Is this clear, everyone? Okay, great. So far, we have covered visual elements and input form elements. Okay. Now let's look at a very simple registration page, right? How do we allow the users to register on the portal? Yeah. So you can see that because we changed it to range, initial content cannot be just 5. Okay, and that's why it was throwing an error here, and that error will be shown here. Okay, so I click on this, then it will show you where the error is, right? And I'll just remove this. Okay, good. Can we move on to seeing how registration can be created? For that, I'll create a new page. Okay, I'll show this again. For creating a new page, okay, click on this index, right? Click on add a new page. It will ask you what should be the page named as. I'll call this as register, right? And if you want to clone from any of the existing pages, then you can do it from here. But in this case, we do not want to. So I'll click on create. It will give us a blank new canvas, just like when we started, right? And that is the page register. Now, I would love to hear from you. What are the things that we need for registration? What do we need when we are talking about registration? Email ID, okay? Password, right? What is the element that we have to use for email ID and password? Input element, right? So drag and drop input element. You can make this as email, right? And because you are mentioning this as email, you have to make this as content format as email, right? I'll copy paste this and we will name this as password. The content format will become password as well. Okay. I know that a couple of you have mentioned name, date of birth, username, and so on and so forth. We will come to that a bit later because on Bubble, the basic required thing for anybody to be able to register is email ID and password. Okay, so let's quickly look into that and then we will get going. Now, is it sufficient for us to be able to allowing the users to register with only email ID and password? Or do we need to add any other element? Yeah, button. Let's add a button. And we will call this as register. Okay. Now see the beauty, right? I've added this register button on the page. Whenever you want to add a workflow, okay, that is what should happen when a user clicks on this particular button, right? Select the button and you get an option called add workflow. Click on that. It will take you to this particular page. Now, what I will do is I'll go to logs, okay, settings, versions, and I will select the latest one, which is this one. Okay. The reason being, Bubble is shifting with a new workflow design, and I do not want you to be watching the old one, right? Because very soon then you will get confused like what's happening. Yeah. So now if we come to workflow, you can see that it is this way, right? So we have this button register flow, which is being shown here, right? This basically tells what are we supposed to do when somebody clicks on that button. Okay. So if we go to the settings, if we go to versions, okay, you can see that we have these options available. You can directly go to this one, which is redesigned workflow editor, right? There is a new design that Bubble has come up with, and they will probably continue with this. So let's learn the new design. Let's not go with the old design and then come here. Might confuse a little bit. Okay. So nothing changes. The way you add the workflow and everything remains same. Just that it was horizontal. Now they've made it vertical. Right? Nothing else changes. So let's go back to the workflow. Okay. Button register is clicked. This is the event, element event. What do we want to happen here, everyone? What should happen when somebody clicks on register? Okay. So what we want is account. Then the first option that you have is sign the user up. Okay. So click on this and it'll ask you for email ID and password. Okay. That's how you can create an account on Bubble. So search for email. Okay. You have added this input email as an input box. So select that and then you have to select value. A lot of users will do just this input element, input email. Okay. And that will throw an error. You will have to select the value. Okay. Any input that you are taking from the users will have value, and value is what we want. Right. And then comes password, input passwords value. Okay. We have taken the email, we have taken the password, and if you use sign the user up flow, then an account is created. Let's see if this is working fine. I'm going to preview mode, right? Let me take you to data once. Okay. By default, Bubble would have added user as a data type. Okay. And by default, user has email as a field, modified date as a field, created date as a field, and slug as a field. Okay. These 4 elements will always be there. Password is hidden. Okay. So even developers cannot see what is the password being used. Okay. Now, if I go to app data, this is where all the data is stored. Okay. Users, the table is empty, right? Think of this table like a table in your Google Sheets, right? So if you go to sheets.new, okay. So this is like email, created date, modified date, and slug, right? So email, modified date, created date, sorry, right? And then slug. Okay. Tables in Bubble is like Google Sheets. You have different columns. Okay. So this table, you can see it is empty now. I'll go to the page. I'll put my email address, abtd@flip7.com, right? I'll put a password, 12345, click on register. You can see this line moving here. And if we come here, you can see a user being registered. Okay. I'll show again. We have added an email ID, email input field, password input field. Okay. The content format for this is email. The content format for this is password. Then we have added a button, and from button, we added a workflow. Because we have already added a workflow, it shows edit workflow. I'll click on this. It'll take us to this particular event, which is when button register is clicked. Okay, what should happen will follow, right? Sign the user up. Where did we get the sign the user up? If you click on this plus, you can search for sign and you will get the sign the user up. Or you can also check it from this account where sign the user up will come. Okay. If you select that, it will ask you for the email and the password, right? Email is nothing but input email's value. Password is input password's value. Okay. Now, once the registration is done, okay, we would like to tell the user that the registration is done, right? And that's where the alert box will come into picture. So I'm going to add this alert, and I would mention account created. Okay, you can change the color and all. For account created, green is good. But if you feel that you want a warning, right, you could change the style from here, warning, or you can change directly here. Okay, in this case, we will make it as success. Okay, and account created should be shown only once the account is created. And that's why we'll go to register, right? And after this, sign the user up. I'll click on this. Okay, I'll search for alert. And you have an action called show message in an alert box. Select that. Because we just have one element in the alert, okay, it'll automatically get selected. If we have multiple, then it'll ask you which one do you want. Okay, so select the one which you want. You have fade in, hold for, like fade in is like it comes slowly, okay, with 500 milliseconds. It stays for 2 seconds, okay, which is 2000 milliseconds, and it fades out for 500 milliseconds. Okay, let's quickly check this. I'm going to create one more account now, right? Which will be, let's say, support@with7.com. Okay, the password, and you can see that the alert box is not yet shown. When I click on register is when it will show account created. It will stay for 2 seconds and it goes off automatically. Let's go to the database and we can see 2 accounts being created. Yeah, for some reason, since a few days I've been observing this, the created date of the first user, right, is messed up. Right? The second user is fine. For the first user, it is being messed up. I don't know why. Yeah, you can see that. 7-11, I don't think we had even started. Yeah, but anyways. Did you follow so far? Okay. Great. Now, a lot of you said like, oh, we need to add a name, date of birth, and so on and so forth. That is if your application requires, right? The basic thing that is required if you want to create an account in Powell is email ID and password. Yeah. If you want to add name and all, yes, we can do that. So the way we do that is we'll add a name. Okay. And we'll make this as text. Now, we'll go to the data types. User is the data type, right? We have not created any fields because email was already there. Password is also there by default. It will not be showing. It will not be shown to us, right? Name is something that we'll have to create. So in the user data type, okay, I'll create a new field. Creating a new field is similar to adding a new column in Google Sheets, right? So I'll right click and say insert a column to the left and I'll make this as name. Okay, so I'm adding a new column and I'm telling that this is of type name. Okay, So create a new field. It'll ask you what is the field name. That is name. Okay, we want to collect user's name, and that's why this is name. Field type, right? Forget about data types for now. Okay, check the basic types. Now, whatever field you are creating, it could be a text field, which means any text can be stored in this particular field. It could be a number field, which means you will have to store numbers here. Okay, it cannot take text as an input. Numeric range, which means 1 to 10, 20 to 100, or whatever it is, any range, numeric range that you want to store, that can be stored here. If you want to date to be stored, like date of birth, okay, your project start date, okay, end date, schedule date, so on and so forth, that is of type date. If you want a range field, like project start and end date, both you are putting in the same field, then you can have range field. Okay, date interval, okay, like how many number of days do you want it, that can be added over here. Yes, no field, which is true or false. If you want to upload a file, then this. If you want to upload an image, then this. If you want a geographic address from the user, then you use this. For name, we will select text. I'll create. So we have just created a new field, which is called a name. Okay, and that is of type text. Okay. Now we have added a field called name here. We need to connect the design to database using workflow. And the way we do that is we'll go to step 1. Okay. This is for sign the user. If you want any field to be changed while we are signing the user up, then click on change another field. Okay. Which is the field that we want to change? Which field do we want to change here? Yeah, it is name. And where is the name coming from? Where is the name coming from? Input, names, value. Okay, this is very, very important. Okay, now let's quickly check if this is working fine. Okay, so I'll make it as test. Or let's say I'll create one for myself, right? And email ID could be plugins with 7.com, and then password. Click on register. You can see account created coming in, and it fades off. Okay. Let's do one more thing. That is, once someone has created an account, let's send them an email. And for that, we can use this email, send email, right? It's asking you, whom do you want to send the email to, right? Because we have the input email here, we can use the same input box, that is input emails value. Okay. 2 will ask you what is the email address that you want to send to, right? So we can use this. And you can mention what is the sender name here, right? Let's say ABCD begin. You can add anything in CC. Okay. We can add BCC. We can add the subject. Welcome to the portal. We can add a body. Hello. Since we are collecting the name now, what I'll do is I'll add a space. And here I would love to use this insert dynamic data, right? And search for name. Input names value. Right? Click somewhere outside and come back here, add a comma, come down and say, welcome to the portal. Thank you for creating an account with us. Okay. Regards, ABCD. Begin. Okay. So you are adding the body here. Now this email will be sent from Bubble's own server. Okay. It will not be your abcd@rich7.com. It will not be anything else. It will be from the name of the application, which is, we have given it as Begin C1, right? So Begin C1 Bubble Apps at bubbleapps.io, something like that. Okay, that will be the email address from where you will get this email. But if you want the users to be able to respond back to you, right, you can use this specify a different reply to address, and you can mention what should be the reply to address. And here I'll mention abcd@rich7.com. So when you get an email and if you click reply, then that email will go to abcd@rich7.com and it will not go to Bubble. Okay. Now let me quickly check if this is working fine. Okay. So name can be ABCD test. Okay. The email could be ABCD +123@rich7.com. Okay. For those of you who do not know, you can use a plus and add any characters, right? It could be 1, 2, 3 ABC or ABCD plus test 1, ABCD plus test 2, and so on and so forth. And that can be used whenever you want to test, right? Because you need not keep creating different accounts for testing purpose. I'll click on register. Okay, we can see that the account has been created in the data, okay, along with the names, right? And I would have also got an email. Let me quickly check that and show it to you. Just a minute. Yes. So you can see that I've got the email, right? And it is coming from Begin C1 no reply at bubbleapps.io, right? So even if the user replies, it wouldn't have reached to them. And it has come to abcd +123@rich7.com, which is what I used to register. And you can see, hello, ABCD test. Okay, that was the name I had given. And welcome to the portal. Thank you for creating an account with us. Regards, ABCD, begin. Now, when I click on reply, okay, it will not go to the Bubble Apps thing. It will come to reply Rich7 support, which is basically what is the reply to address I used? Yeah, abcd@rich7.com. Yeah, so that is the reply to address, and that's where it is going to. Okay. Now, what I would suggest is I am sharing this link in the chat box. Okay. I know a lot of you are asking questions. At this moment, it's not relevant, and that's why I'm not answering. Please hold on. We will answer that in next 15 minutes. So I've shared the link with you. Okay. Please open the link and register yourself, and let's see if those details are getting captured and if you are getting the email with the dynamic details or not. Yeah. Let's see. Come on. Done. Yeah, we can see a few users registered. Five people registered. Come on. Yes. We will know how many people are actually active. Come on, everybody. Okay, great. So please check if you have received the email and email or not, and put received in the chat box, or R in the chat box if you have received it. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Yes, received. And it has also used your name, right? The dynamic data. Okay. Now we have allowed the users to log in or register, right? Let me add a text over here, which is basically insert dynamic data. Current user, okay, is logged in. Current user here refers to the user who is present on the browser, okay? So in my case, when I am on this browser, it is referring to me. Current user is logged in, it is showing yes. If you refresh the page and see, all of this should be yes in your case as well, okay? It's referring to you on your browser, okay? Can you check if it's showing yes? Okay, so all of you are logged in now, okay, and that's why it shows yes. How do we allow the users to log out? This time we'll use an icon. Instead of a button, we will use an icon. Okay, and the icon could be log out. Okay, this is the icon. And we will add the workflow to the icon. Add workflow and click on plus, go to account and log the user out. That's all, right? Refresh the page and click on this icon. You can see this is gone now. The yes, which was there, that is gone because the user is not logged in now. Yeah. All of you following? Did you log out yourself? So we saw how do we allow the users to register. We saw how do you allow the users to log out. Now let's see how do we allow the users to log in back, right? So for that, what we will do is we will go to the email here and change the name slightly to register. Likewise, password to input password register. Okay. Now I'll copy this email field, paste this, drag it and drop it on the right side. Okay. And let's change this to input email login. Okay. We will copy this, paste this, drag it and drop it over here. Change this to input password login. Okay. Likewise, we will copy the button, paste it over here, drag it and drop it over here, and we'll make this as login. Okay. Add workflow, as always, go to account and you have logged the user in. And again, in this case, you need email and password. So search for email and select input email logins value. Okay. The reason why I gave it differently, the name, that is email register and email login, is so that we select the right input field. Okay. Password, again, search for password and use input password logins value. Okay. So let's go back. And you can see on the right side, we have the elements. Okay. Use the email ID abcd@quid7.com or whatever email ID you have used, right? And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, log in, and you can see this as yes. Can you check that? Everybody, see if you are able to log in again. Right? Only 4 people. Check, 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 check. Yeah, so Vinay, that would mean that you have entered the wrong password now. Wrong password or wrong email ID? Yes. So when you're logged in, you can see this yes text over here. Okay. One last thing, like we saw in Vinay's case, right? Like we saw in Vinay's case, we always forget our password, right? Others could remember just because we are doing it back to back. But tomorrow, if we think about it, we might have already forgotten. So let's try to find how do we reset the password. And that will be the last topic for today. Again, it's pretty simple, right? I'll be doing it over here itself. Yeah. So I'll get the input element here, and we will call this as email forgot password. We will get the button over here, and we will mention this as send reset password link. Okay. You can increase the width of button and the input element. Okay. Let's go to the button. Click on add workflow. Click on this plus and search for reset. There are two things: send password reset email and reset relevant inputs. Select send password reset email. Okay. It's asking you which is the email that you want to reset, and you can search for email. Select input email forgot passwords value. Okay. You have the subject added, you have the body added. You can change if you want to, but right now we will leave it as is. Okay. Now what this does is Bubble will send an email with the link to reset your password. Okay. And that will be sent to the email address that you have entered onto the portal, onto the front end, which is email forgot password. Now this will send a reset password email only if that particular email has already been registered on the portal. Okay. That is step number 1 for forgot password. The step number 2 is we already have a reset password page, which is created by default by Bubble. Go there. You have new password field. You have confirm new password field. You have this confirm button. Oh, they've added this workflow now. Great. So this was not there before. Bubble has improved upon this, right? We had to add this workflow before, but let's see what they've done, right? And resetting password can only be done on this particular page. Okay. You can change the design of this, but it has to be done on this particular page. You cannot change the name of this particular page. Yeah. So the workflow is when the button confirm is clicked, reset password. There is a workflow called reset password, and that is available only on this particular page. Okay. If you see, if you search for reset here, you can see that we have got reset password, send reset password reset email, which we saw there. We also have something called reset password. This workflow was not available there. Okay. We also saw this one, but this was not there because we had not added any groups, which we will be seeing in the next session. But reset password is what we have to use, which is what they've added here. It is asking you what is the password and what is the confirmation password. Okay. Those are the two inputs that we have here, right? Input password and input confirm password. Okay. That they have already linked over here. And once the reset password is done, okay, they are taking you to the index page. Yeah. So I would love, who was that? Vinay, to try this out. Okay. When you refresh your page, you should be seeing the email input at the bottom, okay, with send reset password link. So please do use this. Check if you are able to reset your password and come back to this particular page. Just give me 1 minute. I'll not send you here. I'll send you to register page. Yeah. So that you come to this particular page to see if this has become yes or no. Can you check this quickly and confirm? Okay. So while you try this out, let me quickly repeat, okay, what we did for the reset password. Okay. We will go to the register page. We have added one input, which is to collect the email of the user who wants to reset their password, right? We've added a button, which is send reset password link. Okay. Click on edit workflow. And you can see we have an option to send password reset email. Okay. And when you select that particular workflow, it will ask you for the email to which you want to reset the password. Okay. That is particularly the user, right? And then the subject and the body will automatically added by the by Bubble. You can change this if you want, right? And whenever the email comes, let me do it to show you how this works. So let me log out. Okay, I'm going to put abcd@bit7.com, right? And then I'll click on this particular button. Okay. Okay, so they have a limit. Bubble has a limit of sending emails, but I just have to inform. Just give me 1 minute, sorry. Yeah, okay. Okay, so Bubble has added this limitation recently. We cannot send more than 20 destinations. Okay. Then I think I can use one of the destinations that is there. Let me try it out. Maybe. Yeah, this one. Let's try for this. Yeah, okay. So that they have a limitation with destination and not. I just want to show you how this will come, right? So this is the email that I've got. Okay. Subject is your password reset request. And hello, somebody, hopefully you submitted a request to reset your password. If it wasn't you, please ignore this message. If it was you, you can reset your password at the below link, and the link will be added here, right? So there is no harm because you are getting the email and only you will have access to this particular email. So there is no harm. So I'll just go back to this particular thing and I'll click on this one, right? So it will open up. Like this one. It'll ask me for the new password, right? I'll give the new password. I'll click on confirm. And once it is confirmed, it will take me back to the register page. And you can see this is yes. I hope you followed this, right? And that's all we had for today. And we will open up for question and answers, right? So I'll also enable for you to unmute yourself. You can put your questions in the chat box or you can ask by unmuting yourself and we will start answering your questions one by one. I hope you enjoyed the session so far and please do not drop out. We have something to say before we end the session. So yeah, I'll enable for you to unmute. Just give me a minute. So you can unmute yourself, ask your questions, and I'll be more than happy to answer them.
Hi, Ritesh. Sheshadri here.
How to change the version, Mr. Ritesh?
Yeah, okay, so let me share that again. You have to go to settings.
I tried it, but I am not able to get that.
Settings, versions, and then this particular version.
Okay.
You just click on checkbox.
Oh, I couldn't notice that here.
Yeah. What else? Any other questions from anybody?
Hi, Ritesh. Sheshadri here.
Yeah.
So without using any SendGrid like that, like whenever we send a mail, so from it will be showing bubbleapps.io like that, right? So even when we purchase the starter plan also, we will be getting like that only. So is there any way in Bubble so that we can add from address so that we can eliminate the bubble.io like domain name?
Yeah, so you'll have to use one of the third-party applications like SendGrid, Gmail, Outlook, right? Any of those you have to use so that you can have your own the thing. Bubble is closely, interlinked with the SendGrid, right? And you can do it that way. So if you go to domain or email, right, you can.
Actually, I added that, but I'm
Yeah.
unable to added the domain, but SendGrid I didn't integrate it as of now. So I need
Yeah,
to
so
add.
you'll have to integrate.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Hello.
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah, hi. I have two questions. One is related to the data type which you explained, right? The integer and the text bracket numbers only. So is there any difference in that two types or is that similar values?
Which one? Sorry, can you come again?
Integer and the text numbers only.
Yeah. So basically, integer. See, I missed this, but you select the data type as integer if and only if you have to do some mathematical operations on top of that particular value, right?
Okay.
So let's say, for example, you are talking about quantity, right? Now you might want to do some mathematical operations on it as and when there's something being sold, you want to minus it by 1. And if you have got new inventory, then you will add the items there. And only then you will use it as integer. Let's say, for example, you are working on zip code.
Okay.
Right? Now, zip code, even though it is a integer in India, right? You might well save it as text.
Correct.
Okay.
Got it. Yeah, now
Got
I
it?
got it. Yeah. So the another question is in the drop down, we will be able to see like some of the platform will provide option to search the options which will be providing the drop. So is that possible in the Bubble?
Drop down option, I don't think it is available in the default thing. Let's quickly check that because we don't use the default drop down, but we will check it. Doesn't look like. Yeah. So we don't have an option directly here, but we will cover how do we create a drop down, okay, which has the search option.
Okay, yeah. Those are my two questions. And I had some other questions because I already attended your sessions on with Build with AI. So I had built some apps, but I had few doubts. So that will
No, we'll
be
not cover
covered in the
those
later
things
stage.
now here
Yeah,
because
yeah,
we have other people who will get confused, like what are they
correct.
talking about?
Yeah.
Right. So
that's why
we'll hold on to that question.
that will be
Uh,
asked in the Saturday session in that one,
Yeah.
right?
So you can ask that during the Bubble Roundtable, which happens on Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So that should be fine.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. I could change the version. Okay. Thank you, Manoj.
Hey, Ritesh.
I missed log out, click in the page. It's very simple, right? So you have this icon here and okay, not here on the register page. We have this icon over here. Okay. Edit workflow. And you have something called log the user out. So if you click here, go to account, log the user out. So just select that and your workflow is ready for allowing the users to log out. Yeah. I hope it is clear. I don't know, iPhone. Is there a way to not let the edits on the page not be visible on the live version and only be visible when we choose to show them? I didn't get that, Aditya. Can you please elaborate your question?
Ritesh, can I ask one question?
Yes, Vinay.
Ritesh, just wanted to, just wanted you to take us through how do we add, let's say, another variable in the registration table. Let's say if you want to add city or something, how do we add it into existing registration table, registration form?
So you have to add one more field on the here, just like we added the name, right?
Okay.
And you would
that-
add one more input called city. And to just show you quickly, I'll just let this here or let the email be here. Let's copy this one, add it over here, right? We will make this a city, which is text. Now to save this city in the database, we need a field there. So we'll go to user, we'll create a new field, which is city. Field type would be text, create, right? And you want this to be saved when we click on register?
Yes.
What is this? So you will go to sign the user up, change another field and select city. And this would be input city's value.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, no problem.
Am I audible right now?
Yes, Aditya.
Yes. So my question was that let's say we are making any sort of edits on a page, and I am referencing this from WordPress. In WordPress, we had a feature where we make any edit on the page, but for it to be visible on the publicly visible viewable version, we had to hit the publish button. Only when we hit the publish button, those changes were live. So in Bubble, is there any feature where right now, if I make a change, then the change is immediately visible on the live version, right?
Not live version. So basically, this is version test, okay, which is meant only for development and seeing if that's working fine. So this is ideally the developer version of the platform. Okay, there is also something called version live, okay, which will be your live version of the application. We have not come there, so we will come there. So whatever you saw in your WordPress or something like that, we have a similar feature here as well. We will cover that.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay.
Hi, Ritesh, am I audible?
Yeah.
Thank you so much for such a wonderful session. I have a question here.
Yeah.
That is related to how does
the input fields which we are giving on the page, how does it store in the database? Is it on the basis of the names which we use, like
No,
it has to be like the same case sensitive
no,
naming
no.
convention, or how
You can
does
make
it?
this as anything, right? This is just a placeholder.
Okay.
Okay. And whatever you have in the database is completely different. So you are connecting it with workflows, right? So basically, okay, there's a log box. So
Then
this
how
is
is it assigning that sequence?
we
Like
are
for-
assigning it here. No? We are telling which one is connected where. So name is the field that we had created in the database. City is the field that we had created in database. And we're telling name is coming from input AB's, whatever it is, because I changed the name value. City is coming from input city's value. So we are connecting it over here. We're telling in the workflow as to which field refers to which field in the database.
Okay. And
Okay.
is there any way to like map multiple tables, like creating a data model in the backend?
Yeah, we'll create that. We'll take one step at a time.
Okay.
Yeah. So right now we have created just one user table, which was already created by default in Bubble. All right, and we have added a couple of fields which are both text in nature. But we will cover some advanced level where we are creating multiple data types and linking each one and so on and so forth in the coming days.
Thanks.
Okay, no problem.
Hi, Ritesh. I have a small question about the same.
Gangesh, just 1 minute. Sorry to interrupt you. I see
Yeah,
that
not an issue.
has added a question long back, so I'll just answer that and come back to you if you don't mind. Is that fine, Gangesh?
Sure, not an issue.
Okay. Instead of creating a new field in data types for name field, can we create it in the same way as we create email box? What do you mean by that, Smita?
Ritesh, like we have created for the registration email box directly from the input form, right? So, and that was added in the database.
No. So it's not that we created an input box as email and it got created in the database. Bubble by default has an email as field in the database.
Okay.
Right?
So,
irrespective of whether you create the input box or not, right? Email will already be created in the database whenever you create a new account in a new app in Bubble, because Bubble allows you to register on the platform with only email ID and password, nothing else.
Okay, fine. Thank you so much. Yeah.
No problem. Yes, Gangesh.
So Ritesh, I have a question regarding the database part. So currently, whatever the data we are creating in the application, it's saving into Bubble server, right? So, like whenever we, as the agency owner, we always found out that whenever client asks that, हमारे data कहाँ पे save होगा, and we always say कि it's will on the software, or we can definitely save this particular data into your server as well. So can we do the same thing also? Like we can configure the individual servers or the client server rather than using the Bubbles server
Yeah.
for saving the
So you can
database?
use third-party servers to save the data. Like you can use AWS. You can.
So we can configure, right?
Sorry.
We can configure any kind of database,
Any
like
kind
SQL
of
or
this thing
AWS or
if
anything.
those platform has APIs.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can. Okay. But just to give you background, okay, data in Bubble server is very, very safe because they are using AWS in the backend, right? So security wise, if you are thinking about it, then data is on Bubble is very, very safe. And I would always try to convince the customer unless and until they have a very specific reason why they do not want the data to be on Bubble server, right? In all the applications that we have developed so far, right, we have told the customer to keep the data in Bubble because Bubble has native, workflows for dealing with data within Bubble's database, right? If you are connecting with third-party servers, then every action that you are doing needs to be a CRUD action, right? You are either sending the data, you are either receiving the data, you are either updating the data, and so on and so forth. Okay. So unless and until there is a very specific reason why they say that they want the data to be anywhere out, okay, it's always suggested that you keep the data in Bubble's database.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
You mentioned specific reasons that customers always ask for to save their database into their server. Like, can you just specify me like what are the specific reasons that clients always ask them to save their data into their servers only?
So, I mean, a lot of times customer feel that their data is not secure, right? They're like, oh, where is Bubble saving? We don't know. Is it safe or not? We don't know. It has this or confidential information and so on and so forth, right? But if you are able to convince them that data in Bubble is very, very safe, right? Of course, we as developer need to do a lot of things to ensure that the data is safe. Yeah. We will be covering that privacy rules and all, where you will understand how you can ensure that data on Bubble, this thing is very, very safe, right? There are a lot of developers who do not secure the data. It is exposed, right? So we will be covering that in some of the future sessions, where you can ensure that every single data that is added to the Bubbles database is only accessible by the person who is supposed to access it, not everyone else.
Got it. Got it.
So if you can convince all of these details, then most of the times clients are okay with it.
Okay, cool. Understood. Thank you, Ritesh.
No problem. Any other questions that I have not answered? Please, I mean, I might have missed your question in the chat box. If it is so, please unmute yourself or put the question again and I'll answer them.
Yeah, hi Ritesh.
Yeah, hi.
Like currently we just put a password, okay, any password. We can put like, but there is something like password validations.
Yeah.
So Bubble provide any like by default password validations?
Yes.
Like,
so if you go to settings, you can go to general and you have limit password protection. There is. It should be general. It's available only for paid users or what? Define password policy. Sorry. So you can select here, right? Define a password policy, which is coming in general. And you can mention what should be the minimum length of the password, right? Let's say, for example, 8. You require them to have a number in the password. You require them to have a capital letters. You require them to have a non-alphabetical character, right? So you can define the password here, and that will be taken care of in the front end when the user is using the password.
okay.
Okay. Now, one thing you have to keep in mind is if you are defining the password in the backend, Bubble will not. It will just show that. Okay, let's quickly check that. Okay, I'm going to define this password. We have 8 characters and requires a number, capital letter, and non-alphanumeric characters. Let's go to register. Right. And let me put a password like this. Is it not? Okay. Testing. New testing. It means probably. Will not allow me to register is what I believe. Yeah, this password is not valid. So it will just throw an error like this, but it will not say what is missing, right? So you'll have to custom build the things to show like what is missing, what should be included, and so on and so forth. One way of doing that is you can just add a text below to this, right? Which can say that you need to have a few things if you want to register, right? Like you can say password requires 1 number, 1 capital letter, and 1 non-alpha numeric character. Yeah. This way you are communicating to the user that this all are required. Okay, but you can also make this very intuitive by saying what exactly is missing rather than just telling that these 3 are required. Okay, you can show them like what they have entered and what they have not entered and so on and so forth. We will probably not be covering that, but like we will have special sessions where we can see some things like this, which will be outside the syllabus, but we will do that if a lot of you are looking for something like that.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Anyone else? Any questions?
Ritesh, regarding the same, the Saransh has asked about this particular like a password specification question. I just add on. Just like you've mentioned to just aware the user or the registrar that you have to create a password which have one number, one capital letter, and one non-alphanumeric character. So can't we like sometimes we have seen in some kind of registration portal where it shows like elements. When we put those alphanumeric or one number na, then that particular element should be visible. So that kind of thing can we do in Bubble?
That's
For
precisely what I mentioned, that we will be able to do that, but we will not be able to cover it now or in any of the other sessions that we have planned. Okay, but we have some additional sessions which is not yet planned as to what we will do. If there is a lot of demand for something like this, then we will see how it can be done. But to answer your question, yes, that's possible.
And for that, do we require any other plugins to install, or like the elements which we of the Bubble offer, we can do it from there only?
We can do it with internal elements as well. There could be some plugins available. Not really sure, but we can do it without plugins as well.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Ritesh.
No problem. Any other questions from anybody? Okay, I think no other questions from anyone, but feel free to ask your questions in the community if you have any questions. We would be happy to answer. Please do not DM me to ask any questions. I might not be able to answer each one of you via DM. Okay, put it in the community, and even if I'm not able to answer, there will be somebody who will be able to answer these questions, right? And if at all there is any unanswered questions, we will handle it during the Saturday's roundtable, which is specifically meant to get your questions answered. Okay. Now, as I mentioned, okay, in the last week, I would request all of you to share your learnings on social platforms, right? You do not have to tag me. You do not have to put ABCD or any of that, right? You can just mention that you're learning Bubble and what is your learning today, right? Please do this because it will help you in the long run. Okay, that way you are showcasing to your connections that you have started learning something, and that will keep you hooked throughout this journey. Yeah, so please do that. And if you want, right, our team will share what is it, template. Okay, of course, I've asked them to remove myself or any of our this thing. Okay, we do not want you to do this to promote our this thing. We just want you to share that you have started learning and what was your learning. Okay, we want to ensure that at the end of 3 months, that is 12 weeks, okay, you are able to showcase something that you have developed all by yourself. Yeah. So Puneet and team, please ensure that we do not put any such things which will be promoting us. Of course, if you want to add that later, you do that. That's not a problem. But
Sure.
template we will remove it. Yep. Thank you everyone for joining in, and the next session will be on Thursday. That is 30th of January. See you then. I hope all of you will join again. Thank you everyone for joining in and staying until the end. Have a nice evening.
Tomorrow there is no session,
Thank
right?
you.
Tomorrow we don't have a session. It will always be alternative days. For the first 2 weeks, it's most probably on Tuesdays and Thursdays. But from the third week onwards, it will be on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We will keep you updated. At least a few days in advance so that you can plan your schedules. Because we understand that you joining on time is very, very important so that you do not miss out on anything. And that's why we will keep you updated well in advance. So please plan your activities accordingly. And the timing will always be 7 to 9. If at all, for any reason, if there is any change in that, we will update to you well in advance I hope all of you are getting WhatsApp updates as well, right? We want to ensure that you keep getting updates regularly so that you do not miss out on these sessions. Yeah. If anybody is not getting WhatsApp updates, please reach out to us so that we can enable that for you. So you get your WhatsApp updates as well. So AM, you have not joined the community yet. That's very strange. 7.2. Oh, sorry. That didn't come as a link. Yeah, so you can click on this link and it will take you to the community. And of course, you have to fill your information and it will take you to the community. And yes, thanks for the sincere efforts. Good night. Thank you, Aditya. Thank you, everyone. See you on 30th of January at 7 p.m. Thank you, AM.